another edition of the Nolan Show. We are live. If you haven't already, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you're on Twitter, hit like, hit retweet. I'll be uploading this to Apple Podcasts and Spotify later. So I appreciate all you new listeners, all you current listeners. And yeah, let's get right into it. Let's hit that intro and let's get it rolling. All right, what's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Nolan Show. It is April 24th, Monday, after a very, very, very good week if you're a Mets fan, a very good West Coast trip. And yes, I didn't say it at first because I just wanted to mess around. The New York Knicks are 1 win away. The New York Rangers are 1 win away. Madison Square Garden, those teams, they're rocking. We got the NFL draft coming up. We got a lot coming up in the world of New York sports. Oh, and did I mention the Brooklyn Nets also did get knocked out by the Philadelphia 76ers. Granted, it was Philadelphia doing the job, but nothing better than seeing the Nets suck. If you're a Nets fan, I'm sorry. Islanders still fighting in the playoffs as well. Hopefully no Devils fans. Sorry, Brian, man. I'm sorry, but the Rangers are just that much better than the New Jersey Devils. But let's get right into it. The New York Knicks, 1 win away from advancing. Obviously, you guys all know I'm a huge Knicks fan. I got my R.J. Barrett jersey right back here. I got my Obi Toppin jersey right back here. I got the Knicks flag hanging up. You know, if Knicks tickets weren't $400 for the cheapest ticket, I wish I would be there every single game. But unfortunately, I'm 22 years old and I can't afford a $400 Knicks ticket right now. But nonetheless, you can see that the Garden is rocking. The Knicks home court advantage, those two games in the Garden, the Knicks were unbeatable. They were cruising. They were on cruise control basically the whole entire time forward. I mean, when you look at it, Donovan Mitchell, he did not show up. You know, I made that little Instagram and YouTube reel about it. Donovan Mitchell was nowhere. He was nowhere to be found. I think he only had 11 points yesterday during that day game. Jalen Brunson, obviously, he's been going off. But the biggest key for the Knicks these past two games, in my opinion, has been the play of R.J. Barrett. R.J. Barrett has stepped up. Even though he was over 6 from 3 yesterday, yes, and he did knock down 3 big threes in Game 3. But R.J. Barrett, he really hasn't been knocking down his three-point shots. Okay. But guess what he did? Guess what he did yesterday? He attacked the basket. And every time he attacked the basket, he went up strong. He was going up right-handed. He was finishing reverse on the left. He was going all out. He was going all out yesterday. I think he finished with 26 points total. And then defensively, R.J. Barrett has been probably our best defender, most consistent defender all series long, outside of, I would say, Mitchell Robinson, because Mitchell Robinson has been locked down all series long. But R.J. Barrett, wing-wise, I think he's been our best perimeter defender. So I love what R.J. has been doing. In the first two games, he wasn't there offensively, but he still brought the effort on the defensive end. And he's kept that defensive effort up, and he's brought that offensive game back. 26 points in the win yesterday. This is the R.J. Barrett that fans know. This is the fans know. The fans know what type of R.J. Barrett. The fans know the type of player R.J. Barrett can be. And when we're seeing it on the court, it excites Knicks fans. And the best part about these two wins, these last two games, Julius Randle and Emmanuel Quickley, they haven't been shown up. And I'm saying it's the best part because they will show up. We have a 3-1 lead without Julius Randle and Emmanuel Quickley playing up to par. That's huge. And R.J. Barrett, yeah, he hasn't been playing up to the standards that we hold him to. But if he can start playing like the R.J. Barrett we all know he can be right now, then that's perfect timing. Good for you, R.J. Barrett. We needed you. R.J. Barrett is playing his best basketball right now in the most important time of the season, and that's huge. Unfortunately, Julius Randle and Emmanuel Quickley are the exact opposite. They're playing their worst basketball of the season at the most important time of the season. So we do need Emmanuel Quickley, and we need Julius Randle because, yes, we are up 3-1, but it's the Cleveland Cavaliers. If we advance next round, we will be facing either the Milwaukee Bucks or the Miami Heat. The Miami Heat, I would love to face them, obviously, and I think a lot of Knicks fans would. But the Milwaukee Bucks, if Giannis is healthy, obviously we all know what they can do. They won the NBA championship a few years ago. And the Miami Heat, they were in the NBA Finals during the bubble season. So even though Tyler Hero is out, we all know who Jimmy Butler is. We all know Bam Adebayo has really broke out this season. So the Heat aren't no joke either. So the Knicks do need, even if they do get past the Cavs, which they likely will now that they have that 3-1 lead, even if they do get by the Cavs, they're still going to need Julius Randle and Emmanuel Quickley at some point to step it up. Yes, it is great that they haven't been playing up to par and we've still been winning, but we need them. Because if those two are playing the way that they've been playing all year, then we are winning more than just by 9 the other day. I hope we are. I mean, but thank God Obi Toppin has been playing well. The fact that Tibbs was able to keep Obi in for the rest of the game, that last 6 minutes, all my group chats, yo, Julius Randle's going to come back in the game and he's going to blow it. And I was like, yeah, probably. Tibbs is Tibbs, right? But no, Obi stayed in the game. Obi was making offensive rebounds, a lot of defensive rebounds too as well. But listen, Obi played great in the last 6 minutes of the game, and it was huge, and it was one of the main reasons that we won, and it was a huge adjustment that Tibbs made. But I'm not still going to knock Randle. I'm not. Because Randle, as much as I hate to say it right now, he still played. I don't hate to say it. As much as I love to say it, actually, Randle was a huge part in that win yesterday. That block on Donovan Mitchell, where he kind of deked him out a little bit. He was kind of like, we all thought, I know you all thought that. Same thing that I was thinking. Julius Randle really isn't going to make an effort on this play on the defensive end. And then out of nowhere, he gets up and makes that block on the backboard. And we made a turnover right after that, shortly after. But it was really a huge stop. It stopped the run that the Cavs were making. And that was the huge part. What's my audio on right now? Oh, let me.
No wonder my audio sucks right now. My bad, guys. But Rangers only up 2-1. I'm stupid. My bad. Who cares? My bad. My bad. I'll fix that later. We meant to say 2-1. Who cares about hockey? Nobody cares about hockey, even though it's playoff season and everybody cares about hockey. But yo, what's up, Shane? Sons after 2? Yeah, I might be on a little bit after 2. I think so. If I can get it rocking, I don't got to go back into work until 5 today. So, yeah, yes, sir. But straight up, I can't wait to talk some Mets later, but I want to get into the Buck stuff. But the Knicks, I think the biggest thing for them is Emmanuel Quickley and Julius Randle taking a step up. Josh Hart has been playing as expected. I think I forgot who tweeted it out. I think it was like this angry Knicks fan account. I don't know, the real Knicks guy. He doesn't have an actual name on Knicks Twitter, but he pointed out the fact that Josh Hart was going to be a dog during this postseason. We never seen Josh Hart in the playoffs, and he's a type of player that just wants to win. All he wants to do is go out there and fight for rebounds, fight on the floor for steals, fight for loose balls. That's all he does is fight. He's a dog. He literally said it himself. He describes himself as a dog. And he's bringing that whole entire mentality not only to the whole entire team, but I think he's also elevating Jalen Brunson a little bit too, which is nice to see because the Villanova boys are really the ones pulling this up lately, plus RJ Barrett as well, obviously, too. Listen, Grimes, his injury, I don't think it's going to affect the Knicks as much. At first, I was a little hesitant to say that it wouldn't affect the Knicks because the presence that he adds defensively. But Josh Hart, man, he stepped it up in that spot start, and he's going to probably be starting even when Grimes comes back. And if he doesn't, I think a lot of Knicks fans are going to be questioning that move that Tibbs would make. Grimes, leave him out of the starting lineup because Josh Hart, what he's able to do off the bench, yeah, it's great. But what he's able to provide as a starter, that production out of your shooting guard, that's huge. That's huge. That's what we want Grimes to do. Grimes, at some points, it feels like, yeah, you're young and you shouldn't get all the shots because Randle and Brunson and Barrett are better and they've earned it. But when you're open, shoot the ball. Don't be scared to shoot. At some points, it feels like Quentin Grimes is scared to shoot. That's right. Yeah, nobody cares about hockey, Boomer. But no, yeah, at times it feels like Quentin Grimes and Emmanuel Quickly sometimes at the first two games. It feels like they're afraid to shoot. So Josh Hart coming in, stepping up in that start, it was huge for the Knicks. I love to see it, and I cannot say it enough. Mitchell Robinson and Isaiah Hartenstein. We have the best. We might not have the best center in the league. Obviously, Embiid, you got Jokic. When Giannis is playing center, he's the best center in the league. Anthony Davis, when he's playing center, he's one of the best centers, but those guys power forwards because they're afraid to play the five sometimes, I guess. But we have the best center doing the league. No doubt in my mind. No doubt in my mind. Mitchell Robinson coming in, adding the defensive presence that he's just huge, literally and figuratively. Mitchell Robinson is flat out huge. He gets blocks, he gets boards and offensive boards. You need him, he'll grab them all over. Tips to get the. He just keeps offensive drives. He keeps them alive. That's what Mitchell Robinson does best. And then Isaiah Hartenstein, he sees the floor better than anybody, I think, on the Knicks. Obviously, the height helps a lot. But he's out here making passes that no 7-footer should be making. But he's making them. He's making them. He could see the floor. A lot of times you see a lot of centers, they could see the floor and they can make the good passes, but they're not effective. They turn the ball over a lot. Hartenstein, no. He makes smart reads. He makes smart decisions, and he's accurate as hell with those passes. So Hartenstein, he's been huge. And then Tibbs, man. Tibbs, the 2-time coach of the year, couldn't do it, couldn't win the big one, right? Well, I'm not saying the Knicks are winning the finals and he's going to get that big one now. But there's no wide open. It's wide open right now. So there's no clear-cut team. There's no clear-cut team. I didn't mean to say it's no wide open. It is wide open. You know, the Bucks right now, Giannis is hurt. The Heat win. They take a 3-1 lead. That means the Knicks, if they win one more, they're probably facing the Heat. That's a very good matchup. The Celtics, Sixers, probably going to be that second-round matchup. I think we match up well against both of those teams. I'd rather face the Celtics, honestly, because Embiid would just murder us. Joel Embiid kills the Knicks. So I'd rather face the Celtics. But I think if we get by the Cavs, one more, I'm saying if, because we all know the Knicks. And I'm a Jets fan and a Mets fan, so I know those teams. And if there's going to be one team to blow a 3-1 lead this year in this postseason, it would be the Knicks and Tom Thibodeau and Julius Randle's team, when Julius Randle has been horrible. So the Knicks, if they can match up against the Heat, and then the Celtics get by the Sixers, which I think we all think the Celtics can get by the Sixers, then the Knicks have a pathway to the NBA Finals. I mean, I think they can get to the Eastern Conference Finals if they match up against the Miami Heat. But drop in the comments, let me know. Do you think that the Knicks, if they play the Heat, and then the Celtics beat the Sixers, could the Knicks go to the NBA Finals and maybe win it? Because let's really think. Look at the teams in the West. The reigning champions, the Golden State Warriors, they're horrible on the road. Horrible. Great in their home court. Horrible on the road. The Kings, I mean, they're young, just got here. The Nuggets, I mean, they haven't really been playing as that full team with Jamal Murray, Aaron Gordon. Obviously Jokic MVP, but listen, the Knicks can beat the Nuggets. The Lakers, I mean, they're creeping up. I mean, they're underdogs right now, but I mean, with LeBron back, full health, with AD, D'Angelo Russell, they're pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. You got the Suns too with KD and CP3 and Devin Booker. I mean, they really haven't been playing up to standards how we all been thinking. I really do think the Knicks would match up well against the Suns. So if they go up against a Western Conference team, I'm not too worried. But I know I'm not willing to say it yet, but I think I'm willing to say it because I'm saying it right now. I'm starting to believe. I'm stealing it from the match. You got to believe. I think this is the year. It's wide open. Why not? It's wide open. It is wide open. The Bucks, they're hurt. The Heat, they're hurt. Imagine we face the Hawks in the Eastern Conference Finals. That would be awesome. We would lose Trae Young would spit on center court and he would stomp it, wipe it, and then we would want to murder Tom Thibodeau. But yeah, no, straight up Knicks, one more win, and then I think we get the job done. The defense that we've been playing against Donovan Mitchell, Darius garbage is what I've been calling him. He hasn't showed up really since game 2, so screw him. Evan Mobley, he's been locking up Julius Randle, so I really can't knock Evan Mobley. Evan Mobley, was he rookie of the year last year? I'm pretty sure he was. And Jared Allen, I mean, Mitch has been doing pretty good against him, and same with Hartenstein. So the Knicks, one more win. I'm not surprised with how this series has gone. I predicted Knicks in 6. I changed my prediction now to Knicks in 5. I know that's cheating, but listen, I failed for the first round series, but it was a good fail because the Knicks actually were able to exceed my expectations if they can pull off a series victory next game. So let's go Knicks. Let's get the job done. Let's flip from one orange and blue team to the next orange and blue team. Let's talk about these New York Mets. We put it in the little banner. Let me take it away from the banner. But yeah, the Mets, man. The Mets. Only they can go on a 7-3 West Coast trip and the fans still be upset. You know what I'm talking about, Bori. You saw in the chat last night. You saw it. Like, man, we go 7-3 and people just hate on us for no reason. We got to look at the positives. It's got to look at the positives more than we look at the negatives sometimes in life. And I think with the Mets, that's what we got to look like. Because, yes, I'm not going to hold this team to the Wilpon standards. No. I'm not saying Buck Showalter. I'm not going to cut him any slack because he's Buck Showalter. He's an established manager, but he hasn't won the big one. So I'm not going to cut him any slack. Yeah, 100%. But I'm not going to go out here and say Buck Showalter is the stupidest man on the planet and shouldn't be the manager of the New York Mets and say he's holding back the New York Mets when the Mets are currently 14-8, tied for the division lead with the Atlanta Braves. I believe that's good for third most wins in all of baseball right now. So, listen, yes, leave Grandpa Buck alone. Buck Showalter is also my grandpa. So that's another thing. He's my dad's dad. What can I say? So it's emotional for me. But Buck Showalter, listen, I get it if you want to question his decisions. I get it. But to call for the guy to be fired or for him to not be the right manager or the right fit, I just don't think it's fair yet. You can call out for his mistakes, but don't say, because I'll tell you straight up, Buck is going to make mistakes. He's going to make a lot of them. There's 162 games, but we got to realize and understand those mistakes. Like, for instance, yesterday in the chat, one of the Mets fans was going off about the decision not to put in another better reliever in one of those situations in a tie game. But Bori, shout out Bori, Amish country Mets fan, coming at him saying, yo, we got to look at the facts. It's a long season. 7-3 road trip. Yes, it's a stupid decision, but what else can he do? We just got to realize mistakes are going to happen. It's a 162 game season. Hopefully there's more pros than cons. And if Buck can do more pros than cons, then I regard him as a good manager. Now, when we get to playoffs and if we get stuck and we get stunned in the first round, in the wild card round, like we did against last year against the San Diego Padres, then yeah, I'll be calling for Buck too. I'll be saying Buck's not the guy. Buck hasn't won the big one. But we're in year 2 with Buck Showalter. He's won 115 games as our manager in just 2 seasons, and we're not even in the second season in May. So I'm not going to say Buck is a problem yet. Buck is nowhere near a problem. Leave Grandpa Buck alone. I'm going to put it up again. Leave Grandpa Buck alone. In June, in July, and in August and September, if Buck is bucking up, then you can get on Buck all you want. But right now, just let Grandpa make some mistakes, because Grandpa is going to make more positive than negative. And that's really all that matters right now. Because who else would we replace him with too? I mean, when you look around the league, Bori pointed out yesterday, Houston Astros fans, they hate Dusty Baker. They hated Dusty Baker. And then he won the World Series last year. So they hated Dusty Baker, and now look at them. So I'm not saying Buck Showalter and the Mets are going to win the World Series this year. Listen, it would be great, and those are the expectations Mets fans have. But let's hit the phones up. Who we got? Say what's up?
What up?
Oh, Bori, what's up, dude?
Much.
What we
Chilling,
thinking?
watching your show.
What we thinking about these Mets, man? Little update.
Gotta feel good about the road trip, man. It was 7-3. It's not anything to complain about. Buck is gonna buck sometimes. There's no reason to call for his head. I don't know. I just think fans are just way too. Somehow I feel like fans have gotten entitled somehow, and it's only been like a year of us winning.
I feel that. Like, yes, we don't have that Will Ponds mindset. We do not. But we got to realize that it's year 2 with Buck. You can't just win a World Series in 1 year. It'd be great. And listen, the expectation is to win a World Series. But if we come up just short, then I think that's okay. But if we lose in the first round like we did last year, then I think we can be like, okay, yeah, Buck, maybe we can question, maybe we need to get a new manager. Maybe that's the thing that gets us over the hump, because we do see with the Yankees, maybe Aaron Boone is the problem. Maybe he's not. I don't know, but it's been a long time that he's been there and they haven't got over that one hump. So if it's like a continuous thing where we can't get over that one hump, yeah, I could see us going after Buck. But right now, like you said, I think it's just too early. Coming off that great road trip, we just got to look at the positives a little bit more. What do you think, though? What do you think? Do you think this pitching staff? I want to ask you this: this pitching staff, is it a problem right now to the point where we need to make some moves now, or do you think we can kind of manage it, see if we can get Verlander back, see what he can provide, and see maybe we can revamp this thing, or do you think we need to start making some moves?
No, I think it's too early to jump at any moves. I think we have to wait it out. Verlander should be back. They said early May. Scherzer is back, 10 days from this weekend maybe? If we can pull the fort till those guys are back, I think we got to see what they can do before we jump into any moves. Obviously, the pitching staff is a worry with how they nobody can get out of past 5 innings. Lucchesi was the only one.
Yeah, Joey Lucchesi, that's a bright spot.
It's a worry, but I think,
oh, my bad. I didn't mean to cut you off, but Joey Lucchesi, man, he's a bright spot in that road trip, too, at the pitching wise.
Yeah, for sure. I think he has a shot to stay in the rotation, to be honest. McGill, Peterson, Carrasco, they all stink. I think you ride the hot hand. If Lucchesi's getting it done, you leave him in there for a while.
Yeah, so what do you think? You think Lucchesi's actually able to do this? You think he can possibly be in this starting rotation, or do you think it's just a one-time one-time thing? You think it's just a big-time start, or you think it's real deal?
I don't think he's going to match that every time out. I don't think he's that good, but I think he's serviceable enough that you can put him in the 5th starter spot and let him cook for a little bit. And then if he starts to suck, you send him down. It's not like he's costing anything. But
yeah, now I want to ask you one more thing. Brandon Nimmo or Pete Alonso? Who's your MVP so far? And with one of those guys, which one of them do you think has a realistic shot at winning the MVP at the end of the year?
I'd have to go with Nimmo right now. He's just doing it all around. Like, his defense is insane. He's always on base. He's even hitting some homers. Like, the dude is doing everything right now. Like, he can't be stopped. So if I had to choose right now, it's Nimmo, but Alonso is definitely a close second.
Yeah, and I'm hoping that he can finish get to like mid-May with like 15 home runs, maybe 20 by the end of May. I think maybe we could start talking about that record being broke that Judge set just last year. But thanks, Bori. Always fun talking to you. If you haven't already, go check out Amish Country Mets Fan on YouTube, on Twitter. Also give him a follow. I'm not sure about your actual username on Twitter, off the top of my head, but if you want to drop that, go
Twitter,
ahead.
On Twitter, it's just at Amish Country Net.
Yes, sir. All right. Well, Bori, thanks for calling, man. Yeah, anything you want to say, though, before I let you go?
No, man, I appreciate you. Great show as always, and I'm sure I'll be calling in again next time.
Yes, sir. And next time, I'm gonna get you actually on the right side of me. We'll get a whole entire Mets segment. If you're cool with that. If you're cool with that.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, bet. Thanks, man. Always fun talking to you. All right. That was Boy. Make sure you give him a quick shout out. Again, if you want to, feel free to call in 424-432-3565. Give me a call and we'll talk. We'll talk for a couple minutes, I'm not one of those guys that gives you a quick 30-second take and then let you hang up. We'll give you a whole couple minutes. But yeah, straight up, these Mets pitching, like Bori said, I think I agree with him. It's alarming. But at the same time, we got to realize Verlander will be back. Lucchesi, let's give him a little bit of a leash. Let's see what he can do with a few more starts. Maybe he can actually be a reliable starter. Yeah, maybe we shouldn't expect him to do what he did every single time. But if he can give us some quality starts here and there, that'd be huge, especially with the way that David Peterson and Tyler McGill both have looked. It's just weird. Saw some mock saying the New York Giants going tight end at number 25. All I can do is laugh. Oh, What's the Static Podcast? Shout out Chris. If you haven't listened to What's the Static Podcast, quick shout out to him. He's always updating. Literally had one up right yesterday, right after the Knicks game. I listened to that one. Always got good reaction too. Always got good Mets takes too. That's the one thing too. Yeah, Giants. I mean, listen, I don't got it in my notes. I think the Giants should go linebacker. I think when you look at the Giants roster, Bobby Okereke adding him to the defensive side, I think it helps Wink Martindale out a lot. Then you look at Xavier McKinney, the fact that I think the Giants were like 8-2 or something like that with him on the field. They didn't win a game with him off the field. Leonard Williams, he should be back and healthy. Kayvon Thibodeau, hopefully he can take a step forward. So this Giants defense, I think if you add one more legit linebacker, which could be in the first round, I like Trenton Simpson out of Clemson a lot. I think he could really help. But I think if you don't go linebacker, you go wide receiver. Because then you look at, I feel like the linebacker, that one level, like that one more elite linebacker or one elite cornerback too, that's another spot that the Giants could really use. I think that could really help make their defense go from good to great. And then offensively, they're the same thing on defense. They're just mid. They're good. And if they want to take that next level step to great, I think you got to go. I want to say O-line, but realistically, Andrew Thomas, I think he's just a stud. I think he's one of the best offensive linemen in the league. So I think he can kind of carry the offensive line a little bit, whereas you want to go wide receiver. I mean, yeah, obviously the wide receiver has always been talked about, but listen, D-Hop, I don't see the Giants giving up a round 2 pick for him, which I think is stupid. I think the Giants should be all in on DeAndre Hopkins. I think he's that number 1 wide receiver, especially if you want to be up there with the Eagles. You bring back Daniel Jones not to rebuild. You bring him back to compete with teams like the Eagles. So I'd go wide receiver. I would go wide receiver. Off the top of my head, I don't know who I'd go with. I was looking at a couple guys last week. Actually, let me get my notes real quick. Yeah, I'd go wide receiver because I just think, listen, like I just mentioned before, though, like if you get a guy like D-Hop in here, I think it changes the whole entire, it brings the New York Giants, it brings their offense from good to great. And then it goes, like defensive wise, you bring that linebacker, cornerback in, it goes from good to great. So either or, I think you go linebacker, wide receiver. If they go with a tight end, it doesn't make sense, especially with Darren Waller. Yeah. But this is what my question is. Do you think, like with the report that came out, I guess, I think it was like 2 days ago or something like that, that DeAndre Hopkins, the Cardinals were willing to give him up for a second round pick. Do you think that's like, would you do that? Like as a Giants fan, would you think, like, what was it for Darren Waller? I think it was a second round pick. So like, do you think it's worth it? Because I feel like, you bring in Hopkins, you got Hopkins as your 1, Hodgson as your 2 or 3. And then you still have Wan'Dale Robinson, who I think he's a pretty good talent. I know he got hurt at the end of last year, but I mean, I could see him kind of popping off a little bit. So I do like Wan'Dale Robinson. I think he could be a good number 3. And then Darren Waller, I mean, he had back-to-back years where he had over 1,100 yards. So like Chris just mentioned, like going tight end in the first round, it doesn't really make sense if you expect Darren Waller to play up to par. And then Daniel Bellinger too. They just drafted him last year, and I mean, he wasn't amazing, but I mean, they liked him. Yeah, call in. Pop up that right there on that number, 424-432-3565. Yeah, and then like O-line too. I'm just thinking, I didn't even mention him, but like Evan Neal, like he's only gonna get better. So like, I feel like tight end, nah, can't go tight end at number 25. With the draft coming up, I think obviously these rumors are going to be heating up. Let's see, what's the biggest thing on? Maybe Joey Porter Jr. Let's see. Do I gotcha? Hello?
What up, bro? Can you hear me?
Yeah, what's up? Is this Chris?
What up? Yeah, this is Chris, man. Live and in the flesh, bro.
What's up?
How you doing, man? I had to take a break from work real quick, tuned in, wanted to show some support. Appreciate the shout-out, but I want to talk some Giants, man. We got the draft coming up. I'm excited for that. So hopefully I'm not stepping on your toes. I know you were talking Mets with Bory right before.
Oh,
but,
no, not at all.
Talk some Giants if you got a minute.
Yeah, 100%.
All right, let's do it. Yeah, so I know we were talking about the wide receiver. I know you said you like linebacker at 25. I'm not messing with a tight end, bro. I saw a couple mocks. I think it was Albert Breer. I think the other guy was Peter King, if I'm not mistaken. They mocked the Notre Dame tight end to the Giants at 25. I don't like that at all, man. I say let's go either a cornerback. I think we got to shore up the cornerback position. Obviously, we got a Dory. We lost Julian Love, who was that sort of flex safety type cornerback type bridge guy. But I'll go cornerback, and then probably I'd have to say one of the wide receivers. I agree with you. But which one falls to 25? I don't think any of them do that are first-round talents. So it's really up to the chances there.
Do you think that the Giants have a shot at getting Joey Porter Jr. out of Ohio State?
I think so. I forgot I was looking at the ESPN rankings. Obviously, that's not really going to be how it plays out in real life, obviously. But I think we got a good shot at Joey Porter Jr. I don't know if they wanted realistically to trade up to get their guy. I don't know what a trade package would look like. But I think we can get Joey Porter Jr. at 25.
Yeah, so you mentioned that you don't think any of the big-time wide receivers are going to slip down to 25. So do you think that there's any possibility? I haven't seen anything about the Giants trading up, but do you think that there's any possibility if there's someone that they like?
I don't know, man. I haven't looked at the back end of the prospects. Zay Flowers is probably going to be number 1 off the board. Actually, it's a tie between him and JSN from OSU. They're both studs. They're both first-round talents. But behind them in the wide receiver class, behind those two guys, I'm not positive. So that's why I'd probably pivot to a cornerback or a linebacker. Obviously, you can never go wrong with O-line. I think the interior O-line could use a lot of help. Evan Neal's young on the side there, right tackle. And then you got, obviously, franchise left tackle, Andrew Thomas, like you mentioned. So we're sure there on the outside. Just a quick point. I hope Evan Neal progresses. I fully believe in him. I think he's going to take a big leap, like Andrew Thomas did if he was struggling after his first season. So we'll see what happens there. But I got to do my research in terms of who we're going to take at 25. It's just a blessing that we were able to get
that high up now, obviously with a great playoff run. Happy to be back winning Giants football. That's what it's all about. I was going to ask you, you a Jets or Giants guy? So you got both up there.
I am. It's not like we're the in baseball. I hate the Yankees. I'm a Jets guy, but my whole entire family is Giants fans. So I do support the Giants just as much as I do support the Jets. Surprisingly.
That's what's up, bro. That's what's up, bro. And I know you mentioned DeAndre Hopkins trade. You want to see him in, Big Blue, or what's the deal with that? I personally probably would hold off on that trade, depending on what the Cardinals are asking for. I don't know what they're asking for, but I like the Giants wide receiver group right now. Obviously, there's no clear number one. We got, obviously, Slayton's back. We got Hodgins is probably going to act as the number one. We lost Richie James, but we signed Jamison Crowder, Paris Campbell, both vets. Very capable of producing in this league. Wan'Dale Robinson coming off the torn ACL. He looked like a stud before that injury. It was unfortunate what happened to him. And obviously we got, some threats at tight end. You got Darren Waller, brought him in. Everyone knows what he's capable of. And then Daniel Bellinger. Obviously it's a great 1-2 tight end combo. So I honestly would not be mad if we don't address the wide receiver position in the draft. I think we can rock with what we got for right now. I know that might be an unpopular take, but I like that wide receiver room right now.
I'd surprise, and I feel like, I just think that one more wide receiver would do wonders. But Darren Waller, then again, he was a guy who did that back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons when he was healthy. So I think he had like 600 yards too in like 7 games 2 years ago. But I want to ask you.
It's the issues, man. Injury issues.
Yeah.
What's up?
I just wanted to ask you one thing. Kayvon Thibodeau, you think he can turn into like a legit top-notch linebacker, like edge rusher, or do you think he's just going to be, flail out? What do you think of Kayvon Thibodeau, though?
That's my guy, bro. I got a Kayvon jersey. Just watching all the games last year, obviously stats, in the stat books, his numbers didn't kind of live up to the hype of, where he was drafted at, the hype that he got out of Oregon. But if you watch just the impact that he had on the field in terms of giving the offensive lineman fits, I mean, I'm not sure how many times I witnessed him get held and there was no call. So I think he's an actual menace out there. He's a complete dog. I think they're going to get him right, and those numbers are going to start to show. You can never have too many, rushers, edge rushers. I'm really looking at Azeez Ojulari to sort of complement him out there. I know Azeez had an up and down year last year in terms of like battling injuries. But I think Kayvon Thibodeau is the truth, bro. I've always thought that. I was ecstatic when we got him. I thought that we drafted perfectly last year. Evan Neal, obviously at 5, and then we got Kayvon at 7. So happy he's here, and I think that he's going to be legit. And I think that a lot of people should be watching out for year 2 Kayvon.
Yes, sir. I love Kayvon Thibodeau. And you mentioned Ojulari, too. I think if he can stay healthy, too, that'll really help Kayvon just as much, too. Just seeing less double teams, I feel like we're really opening it up for him. And Leonard Williams, too. He's got to stay healthy, too. I'm not sure what the deal is with him. I think he is coming back. Right? Is he coming back or?
Yeah, he's coming back. He was they were talking about him taking a pay cut. Obviously, he got that extension a few years ago after I think Gettleman traded him for him. He was a Jet before, didn't pan out over there. Leo's been producing. Obviously, he's got to stay healthy. I know he's been battling some injuries, but he usually plays through them. And that, that right side of the line could look very dangerous, obviously, with Sexy Dexter Lawrence lining up beside him. And if you're talking about contract extensions, that guy Dexter Lawrence is going to get a bag. He's one of the best defensive tackles in football. And I know a lot of people give Dave Gettleman crap, and I'm guilty of that. But that was a home run pick, obviously, when you're talking about the return that you get for Odell Beckham Jr. in that Browns-Giants trade.
Yeah, that was actually, now that you mentioned it, Dave Gettleman, kind of 2 big picks. Well, 3 if you kind of think about it. Saquon, Lawrence, Jones. Obviously, he's not there for the winning, but all that matters is that you guys got someone now, Brian Daboll, coming in and cleaning them up and making it win now. So what do you think? These Giants are going to return to the playoffs, potentially fight for the NFC East division next year with the Eagles losing, some coaches and some key players? What do you think?
Yeah, man, I'm really excited. I wasn't expecting the Giants to be just quite there in the playoffs last year, so they really surprised me. Love what Brian Daboll is doing. Love what Joe Shane's doing over there. I fully trust in that guy. I've been seeing some sort of weird takes on the Giants and when they re-signed Jones, and they're kind of taking shots at Dable and Shane about how they handle that situation. Obviously, everybody was talking about Anthony Richardson, who's going to be a stud in the league as well. I fully believe in Anthony Richardson, but I think Daniel Jones is our guy. I think he proved it. I think he deserves the contract. And I think we're going to compete for that division title. Jalen Hurts and the Eagles are always a tough task. Obviously, you got the Cowboys as well, but Jalen Hurts just got that extension. Also, very, very well deserved. Dual threat quarterback. I'm scared about the Eagles and what they're going to pull with this Derrick Henry situation. I think that they're licking their chops with Derrick Henry. Obviously, Miles Sanders is now a Panther. So I don't know. The Eagles always find some way to make a big deal, pull off a big deal, even with limited cap space. You know, they pulled the A.J. Brown deal, and then they ended up re-signing Darius Slay after everyone thought that he was going to be requesting a trade. So it's going to be tough. I think we're a wild card lock for sure. But just knowing the Giants' struggles with the Eagles ever since like the 2012, 2013 range, Eagles have absolutely owned us. I'm not going to lie, and I hate to admit that, but it's just the plain truth. But definitely a playoff team a lock, and I'd be disappointed if they didn't make it back there.
Yeah, I just feel like the Eagles, they're above a lot of teams in the NFC. They're very hard to get by, but the Giants, they're like, I feel like in that second tier in the NFC, they're going to be right up there with the Vikings, maybe even better. I mean, they just did beat them in the playoffs. So I feel like it's really just the Eagles they got to tackle in the NFC. And once they do that, they'll be right there in that NFC championship conversation with them. And then the 49ers too. How am I leaving them out? But yeah, thanks for calling in today. Yeah, thanks for calling in, dude. Anything you want to say, and you want to let the guys know about the WTS pod coming up right now?
Yeah, bro. I just started the WTS pod. Obviously, you can go to my Twitter. It's at the WTS pod. I got my link up there. Take you both to my YouTube page and my Spotify link for my podcast. I've been doing a lot more of the Spotify sort of work right now, but I'm planning to do some more videos. I know Boy was on the call before me. We got that, the chat going. I want to, link up with you guys sometime, make a video, make some content. Obviously, Shane Sun's podcast, shout out them. They're doing some great things over there as well. Anytime you guys are down to do a live, I'm definitely down for the Mets game. I know we're full throttle Mets right now. I got a lot of Mets takes to spit off too. So liking what the Mets are doing. Obviously, disappointing last two games there. But, yeah, man, we're all doing our thing and just out here supporting the guys. So appreciate the shout-out, bro.
Yeah, 100%. Thanks, man. Thanks for calling in. Love the support. And definitely, man, everybody check out his pods. Check out his Twitter page. He's got some good takes, too. Some hot takes just like myself. But, that's what we're all in the game for. So thanks for calling in, man.
Bro.
Yeah, and just thanks for overall for calling in. And hopefully these Giants can get to the playoffs. And hopefully the Mets, they can kind of clean it up once they get back tomorrow, because those last two games obviously weren't too pretty.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it, bro. Do your thing. Keep doing your thing, man.
Thanks, man. All right, guys. That's Chris from with the Static Pod. You can check it out. Check him out. He's on Spotify right now. He's got a couple YouTube vids up right now. I was checking out his YouTube page earlier today, but I was listening to his reaction on the Knicks yesterday. Quick videos. He's got them up. He gets them up quick. So if you literally want a quick fan reaction take, go up there, go see what he's got. So yeah, now that I'm in the draft mode, now that I'm in this New York Giants mode, I'm going to clean up this. Well, not clean up this Giants, but because I'm going to get right into the football still. So I'm not going to wrap it up just yet, but I think that the Giants, like Chris said, I think they're a lock for the playoffs again next year. Because when you look at this NFC, you look at the 49ers, you look at the Eagles, there really aren't that many dominant teams outside of those two. The Minnesota Vikings, they look dominant, but the Giants proved that they're beatable, and they're not dominant at all. And in fact, the Giants are a great match against those guys. And defensively, I feel like the Giants, they're a step away because, I think Chris is very high on Kayvon Thibodeau, and I think a lot of Giants fans are high on Kayvon Thibodeau. He really stepped it up in the second half of last year, which was very nice to see. That's what you really look for. You don't look for what they can do right away. You look for what a rookie can do towards the end of the year. What can they learn? And it looked it looked like Kayvon Thibodeau was really learning and really caught on how to get into the backfield and get to the quarterback in the second half of last year. I mean, you saw him break loose for multiple sacks against the Washington Commanders in one of those games towards the end of the year. So Thibodeau, I agree with Chris. I think he's got a lot of potential. He's got a lot of potential. And if Ojulari, another guy, Azeez Ojulari, he has just as much, I'm not going to say more potential than Thibodeau because Thibodeau has a lot of potential, but Azeez Ojulari, he has just as much potential as Kayvon Thibodeau. He's very good. So he just needs to stay healthy. And if he stays healthy, then it opens it up more for Kayvon Thibodeau. And Leonard Williams also, like he said, always playing through injuries. That's huge. So, and then Bobby Okereke, I forgot to mention it with him, but I really wanted to get his question, his take on that. Bobby Okereke, I think he's going to be huge for this Giants team. He stays on the field. He's healthy. He doesn't get hurt. And he's a top 10 linebacker in tackles last year. So he's going to be huge for this Giants team that had no linebackers for really, it feels like forever. So this defense, I think you get a good guy, a solid elite level player, whether it's a cornerback or a linebacker with that 25th pick, Joey Porter Jr., maybe Trenton Simpson. I don't know. I think you can take that defense from good to great. I think on the offensive side, listen, the line, Evan Neal, he should take a step forward. Andrew Thomas, we all, he's a stud. And then Daniel Jones, really, he just needs weapons. Darren Waller's going to be huge. Saquon Barkley, hopefully they can figure out this little contract thing and nothing can scare Giants fans down the road. And he should be able to be on the field come opening day. And then wide receiver wise, Chris loves the wide receivers he just mentioned. I'm not sure if all Giants fans love the wide receivers, but all Giants fans know that these wide receivers that they have are capable. And that's what's huge. Capable, because that's what the biggest thing is. Because a couple years ago it was, well, we have nobody. Well, now you have Isaiah Hodgson, who really you never know. I'm not going to say he's going to be a number one target, but Hodgson looked pretty good towards the second half of last year. He had very, very, very good chemistry. Yes, Bobby Okereke was a great sign. And my bad, Chris, I forgot to talk about that with you. But whatchamacallit, I think that Isaiah Hodgson, he could turn out to potentially be number one. He's got like 21% chance, I'd say, of turning into a number one if I had to give it like chances wise. But listen, he's definitely a number two, which is huge. And Wan'Dale Robinson, he could develop into something. Daniel Bellinger and Darren Waller as a tight end duo, that's another big factor for the Giants going into next year. So they're really a big weapon away on the offensive side and a big weapon away from the defensive side from being a full-on elite team. They have one of the best coaching staffs in all of football. Mike Kafka, everybody was trying to steal Mike Kafka. Everybody was trying to steal Wink Martindale. And Brian Daboll, he's the hot new topic. He was the coach of the year. He's the best coach in the NFL. So the Giants are in a very good position. And like Chris said, Dave Gettleman, a lot of fans, you got to shit on Dave Gettleman. It's part of being a Giants fan. It's part of the Giants culture. But it's also, you love him because he got you Daniel Jones, Saquon Barkley, and now that big son of a gun, Dexter Lawrence. He is huge, and he is literally huge figuratively and literally. He can plow through offensive linemen and get to the quarterback and cause scenes. He causes havoc, even if he doesn't record a sack. So this Giants team, I'm excited to see what they can do come next year. Are they going to be against, fighting for the Eagles against the NFC? Fighting against the Eagles for the NFC East? Not necessarily. Jesus. I don't know why I couldn't get that one off. But listen, I think that they can 100% be a wild card team. And I think that there's a possibility that they do fight for the division with the people that the Eagles have lost, coaching wise. They lost Miles Sanders. They lost CJ GJ on the defensive side, who was huge for them last year. So I'm not going to be like the Eagles are going to be that same dominant team that they were last year. But, the Giants also, they didn't make any major moves to upgrade besides Darren Waller. So, and Bobby Okereke, but that really doesn't put them with A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, the best offensive line, best defensive line in football. But they're right there with the Vikings. I think that they can, the 49ers, they don't have a quarterback right now. So maybe that's their edge on the 49ers. Who knows? But the Giants, I expect them to be back in the playoffs next year. And I don't expect them to get blown out in the playoffs next year if they do. Because last year they overachieved, and you kind of can give them that little pass on why they got blown out by the Eagles, who are much more prepared. And it looked like their players, they knew they were expecting to go to the Super Bowl. The Giants, it was, you got nothing to lose. Well, now the Giants, it's flip the script. Like, obviously, the Eagles, they still have everything to lose. But the Giants, they have some stuff to lose now, too. So there's expectations on the table, higher expectations. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be a fun time for New York football next year with the Giants, just coming back to the playoffs, the Jets trying to break the longest playoff drought in God knows how long. So hopefully Aaron Rodgers can be a Jet before the draft comes, because if not, a lot of Jets fans like myself, we're going to be freaking out because Aaron Rodgers is still not a New York Jet. And it is annoying. It sucks. Like, honestly, you look at this Jets roster, and you look at this Jets roster last year too, even. We were 7-4 at one point. People were actually saying the Jets could do it. The Jets could be a Super Bowl team. They got a Super Bowl defense. People were actually saying the Jets had a Super Bowl defense, which is insane. It's insane. Because I didn't think they did. They played third-string quarterbacks and second-string quarterbacks. They played good against Josh Allen, though. I'll give them that. But the Jets were being talked about that, so I'll give them credit for it. They had a very good defense. They had a top 5 defense statistically. I mean, top 5 passing yards, top 5 in points allowed, top 5 in almost every defensive category. That's how good their defense was. Their offense, Garrett Wilson, I don't have to say anything about him. Breece Hall, when he's healthy, he's one of the best running backs in the league already. I mean, he led the NCAA in rushing just 2 years ago. And then obviously Elijah Moore, he got left in the dark, but we still brought in Alan Lazard, McCole Hardman to come in now. Corey Davis is still here. Tyler Conklin, obviously, he was a bright note of last year. And then CJ Uzomah, hopefully he can provide a little bit with Aaron Rodgers going to be the quarterback. It's just, that's the thing, though. Aaron Rodgers is not the quarterback yet. Zach Wilson's still slated as our starting quarterback. And I know Aaron Rodgers will be our quarterback, but if there's one team that would have a 4-time MVP say, I intend to play for your team, and then it falls through because their GM went on stage with Boomer Esiason and say, oh, he's coming, and Aaron Rodgers go out and basically shit on Mark Murphy, the Packers GM. It's the Jets, man. The Jets would be that one team. There would be that one team to let a 4-time MVP go on the Pat McAfee show and say, I intend to play for the New York Jets. And then he doesn't play for the New York Jets. The Jets would be that team. So there is that little bit of me that is worried. There is. I don't know, man. I really don't know what's going on with it. I think that they'll get it done before draft. But draft-wise, with the Jets, I mean, it's like the first time in forever we don't have like a top 5 pick. Like, I feel like every year we're drafting in the top 5. So that's another thing why I don't care if the Jets did give up their first-round pick for Aaron Rodgers. Because you look at their, like, the last couple of years, our first-round picks, Jamal Adams isn't here. I mean, he did get up. He got us a haul. He got us a haul from the Seahawks, so I won't say that it was a total failure. But Zach Wilson, Sam Darnold, even the second-round picks, too, they kind of haven't panned out, really. I mean, Devin Smith, anybody remember that guy out of Ohio State? Yeah, exactly. You don't remember him. He was a second-round pick. Barely played for the Jets. So the point I'm trying to make is the Jets, the draft picks outside of last year, the draft that we just got lucky on. I think it's the best way to put it. Joe Douglas had a great draft last year, but outside of last year, he drafted Zach Wilson. He sucked. Elijah Moore, he had potential, and I'm not going to say he can't reach that potential, but it wasn't a successful draft pick. So I'm not going to say that Joe Douglas, I'm not going to overhype Joe Douglas and hop on the train that's saying Joe Douglas is this all-star general manager just because he got Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall, and Sauce Gardner. Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall, and Sauce Gardner, everybody knew that those 3 were going to be studs in the NFL. They just happened to fall into our lap. So it's not Joe Douglas, credit to Joe Douglas, but you still drafted Zach Wilson. So I can't give him all his flowers, and he still brought in Corey Davis, who hasn't really done much either. He also brought in Jordan Whitehead, who sucked last year. The DJ Reed signing was great, but all I'm trying to say is Joe Douglas has made mistakes. So this is why he's trying to get Aaron Rodgers. Because he's trying to save his job too. That's another point. Like, if they don't go to the playoffs next year, him and Rob Saleh, they're both done. They're both done. Fired. Woody Johnson wants to make the playoffs. Jets fans want to make the playoffs. With or without Aaron Rodgers, this Jets team was supposed to make the playoffs next year. So now that we do have Aaron Rodgers and we are surrounding him with the whole entire world, the expectation is to win a Super Bowl. It's not to go to the AFC Championship game and lose. It's not to go to the divisional round and lose. It's to win the Super Bowl. Because I feel like with baseball, you bring in Verlander, you bring in Scherzer, you bring in Starlin Marte, you bring in all these vets. It's like the window's still open because Pete Alonso's still semi-young, Lindor's still young, McNeil, Nimmo, all those guys are still young, right? And then you even got Brett Beatty coming up. You got Vientos. You got Alvarez who just hit that home run. Like, you still got that young guy. So the Mets window is open. The Knicks window is open. They got young guys. The Giants window, it's open. The Rangers window, not as much open, but still open. The Islanders window, open. The Nets window, open. But the Jets window, it's like this. It's like this. Saleh and Douglas, playoff mandate. We have not made, we're the longest team, I think, in New York sports right now that hasn't made the playoffs too. So the Jets are urgent, and their window is this small with Aaron Rodgers. We screwed up with Zach Wilson. We screwed up with Sam Darnold. Remember Bryce Petty, Christian Hackenberg, Geno Smith, who's now balling out with Seattle. So the Jets cannot screw this one up. If they get Aaron Rodgers, they have to win a Super Bowl. No other better way to put it. You don't have to win an AFC championship. You don't have to win a division. Well, yeah, you do have to win those, but it's not like you win that and it's a success. No, you win a Super Bowl and it's a success. I'll be happy if the Jets make the Super Bowl and lose, obviously, but I want to see them win a Super Bowl. I want to see them win because the Jets can't get this quarterback thing right ever. This is a Band-Aid. Band-Aid, go win a Super Bowl. And if they don't, I'm going to be pissed. So that's my whole entire take on this Jets stuff. Draft-wise, though, I mean, when you look at the Jets' whole entire roster, they're really good outside of the quarterback position. O-line is the biggest hole, though. Biggest hole. Go get some more guys on the offensive line. I think that's it. Like, wide receiver-wise, we're good. Tight end, we could probably use like a legit receiving tight end. So if one pops up in the draft, maybe. A linebacker could potentially help. An edge rusher would help. But really, offensive line is really what we need. What we need badly. And a safety. A safety would be nice. So O-line and safety for the Jets. Giants. That 25th pick, that's going to be interesting. It's like a weird spot. It's a weird spot to be drafted in. But yeah, I do want to just wrap this up with the New York Yankees because I do want to spit a little bit of Yankees talk. They are 5-5 in their last 10. So the New York Yankees are 5-5 in their last 10. Aaron Judge is now batting like 250 to be exact. Let me pull it up. Let me pull up the Yankees stats. 13-9 right now. So they just lost to the Blue Jays yesterday, 5-1. I'm pretty sure they lost 2 out of 3 they lost to the Blue Jays. 6-1 loss on Friday night. They only put up 3 runs too in their win on Saturday. Very un-Yankee like. Yeah, the Yankees, man. Go Yankees. And then you got Brito on the mound tonight. So we all know how that last start went for him. So I'm sure Yankees fans are a little bit, actually last start he did pretty well. 2 starts ago, he was horrible. Where he let up 7 earned runs in the first inning. Yeah. That's who pitched tonight against the Twins. So the Yankees, listen, man, I expect them to win 100 games. I was on the record for them winning 100 games just last week. So I'm still sticking to that because Anthony Rizzo has been absolutely scorching the baseball. Gleyber Torres, he started the year off so hot. He's starting to pick it up a little bit more now. But Judge, man, he's hitting 244. Aaron Judge hitting 244. There's a new king of New York. And that's Pete Alonso. I'm taking that home run crown off Aaron Judge, and we're going to put it on Pete Alonso very soon. Very soon. Not yet, but soon. We're taking it off Aaron Judge, though, right now. We're in the process of it. We're we're fighting it for it. We're saying, give me that freaking crown, dude. That's what we're doing. So Judge, 244. That's what he's hit. That's the MVP right there. Yeah, that's the MVP. Anthony Rizzo, though, shout out him, man. He's hitting 316. He's tearing it up. Man, DJ LeMahieu, I've been saying it all year. He's the key guy that's got to stay healthy. And Stanton, too, he could have been the guy who's staying healthy, but he's out 6 to 8 weeks. So that kind of sucks for them. But pitching-wise, I think this Yankees team, once they get, what's that guy's name? Rodon back, Carlos Rodon, who I don't even think, he's not even that good to me, in my opinion. When the Mets were interested in him, I was like, why would we go for a guy like Carlos Rodon, who's never pitched in over 180 innings once in his career? He pitched in 170 innings last year, and that was the most he ever pitched. Most he ever pitched was 170 innings. And you gave that guy a 6-year deal over $100 million. Oh, Jesus. And people are clowning the Mets for giving 2 old guys 2-year deals. Anyways, pitching-wise, though, they're still really good. Garrett Cole and Nestor Cortez, they're rock solid. Clark Schmidt can probably get it going a little bit better than that, what he's been doing. He's really just an opener at this point. So the Yankees, just like the Mets, they need pitching too. But Judge, I expect him to step it up. He's not gonna hit 244. So I'm gonna clown on him while he is hitting 244, but he's gonna get it going. And Rizzo, I think that's a huge plus factor because the Yankees, they had mid Anthony Rizzo for the last 3 years. Now they have elite Anthony Rizzo. And that's huge. So now you have elite Anthony Rizzo. You have Aaron Judge, who we all know who he is. If Gleyber Torres can get back to what he was doing, not at the beginning of the year, but if he can be a 275 guy, Yankees are a 100-win team, especially when they get Rodon back. Listen, they can add a couple more guys to the rotation. I'm excited to see Brito, though, tonight because I don't know what he is. Because in his first 2 starts, he actually looked pretty good. And then his 3rd start, he sucked. So, there's no other better way to put it. So let's look at what they can do tonight. And then the Rangers, I wasn't talking about them a lot tonight. Let me see, actually. If I can. Let's see if we can talk some Rangers real quick with the Rangers spot with my guy, Frankie. What does he want? Let's see. Let's give him a call. The Rangers, though, tonight, Devils, 2-1 lead. I put 3-1 lead because they're going to take a 3-1 lead. That's why I put it, Bory. That's why I put it. Now, all the seriousness, the Rangers they've benefited playing in New Jersey because New Jersey is so close and it's basically a home game when New York is playing New Jersey. But that last loss, it was an OT loss, so it's not really an alarming loss. Igor was still playing like Igor, so that's the biggest thing. It was just an off night offensively for the Rangers, so I'm not expecting the Rangers to lose tonight. Igor, he's been playing like playoff Igor. He's the best goalie right now in the league. He's unstoppable. The Devils, and this is another great sign, the Devils weren't just like the Devils. The Devils were one of the best teams in hockey all year. So the fact that the Rangers are making easy work of a team up to par like the New Jersey Devils, that's a very good sign. So headed into the rest of this Stanley Cup playoffs, Rangers go up 3-1 tonight, and they can finish it off in 5 or 6 games against a team like the Devils. That's a great sign going into the next series. Because you already know Igor's playing lights out. Lights out. These boys want to win. Just like the Jets, their window's kind of tight too. So listen, Panarin's not getting any older. Patrick Kane's not. I mean, Panarin's not getting any younger. Zibanejad's not getting any younger. Patrick Kane's not getting any younger. Adam Fox isn't getting any young. Well, Adam Fox is pretty young, but he's not getting any younger. So the Rangers, I think they're on fire right now at the right time. Because the Bruins, yeah, they're one of the best teams this NHL has ever seen in the history of the league. But sometimes it's about being hot at the right time. And the Devils, they're not a snooze fest. They're one of the best hockey teams in all of hockey. And the Rangers are just making it look easy against them. Easy. Igor's not letting them score. But that's all I'll spend on the Rangers because I'm exhausted. I got to go back into work. And that's that. Deuces. Deuces again because my shit's not playing. So hope you enjoyed the show. Shout out Chris. Shout out Boy for calling in. And yeah, let's go New York tonight, man. Let's go New York, even though Brooklyn should have been playing, but they got swept. Swept. Deuces.